Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here to bring you a little list of some of the things that we have purchased most recently to sort of flesh out our preps and make sure that we're moving in the right direction in certain areas. Also, every single one of these is very budget friendly and I think accessible to almost anyone. So I'd like to bring you this information and hopefully you find it helpful. There's a lot of books. There's a couple of little items. But let's go ahead and get started and just get right into it. Starting with this book, Food Storage for Self-Sufficiency and Survival. This is an incredible resource. I was reading through it. I thought that I knew quite a lot already about food storage, but reading through this, I was like, oh my gosh, there is still so much that I have to learn and so much that I have to know for putting up my food. So I'm so grateful that I have this book. This is actually a suggestion on Canadian Prepper's channel recently. I think that he posted a bunch of his favorite books, and so I grabbed this one. And boy, am I glad that I did. So this is an incredible place to start, especially if you're wondering how you start storing food and putting up food for, long term. The very first chapter is on 72-hour emergency kits. It talks a lot about the reasons why you might even want such a thing. So for instance, let me just read you this little excerpt. You're enjoying an average lazy morning at home, reading stories to the kids. Suddenly you feel a rumbling. The ground lurches and there is a sickening groan. You grab the kids and drop to the ground. Glass breaks. Books fall to the ground and the lights flicker off. Then, as quickly as the tumult began, it's over. In an instant, the day has changed, including your plans for dinner. You were going to go to the grocery store and pick up the makings for tonight's dinner, and now the roads are damaged and the power is out. There won't be any shopping today, maybe not for a few days. What do you have to feed your family? So it's just a super realistic idea. This is not like begging for disaster. There's just, you never know what can happen. And so having enough food on hand to feed your family, but also the means to cook it is so important. And this book is just fantastic. Honestly, I would say if you can't get anything else on this list right now, get this book, get started, figure some things out. You'll be so grateful that you did. Also, just as an FYI, she's got a whole bunch of worksheets in the back to help you with your planning. And yes, I love it. Fantastic book. So happy I got it. Okay, this book is next, the Dehydrator Cookbook for Outdoor Adventurers. So this is very specifically geared towards backpacking, which also makes it incredibly good for any kind of bug out bag and or get home bag or 3-day bag situation. I think that there's a lot of amazing recipes in here, tips for how to cook food for dehydrating and all of that stuff. I just think that this book is completely fantastic. Rehydration tips and tricks and all of that. There's actually several recipes in here that made all my prepper bells go bing, 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 bing. There's several cold soak recipes in here. So you don't even have to heat your water to rehydrate and eat some of the recipes in this book. So, oh my gosh, this is great. So, and to tell you too, another kind of telling thing is I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, which I pay $9.99 a month for. When I first got it, it was about 3 months, I think, for free. And I'm pretty sure that is still the deal that they run. So you could potentially access this book for free. If you've never had Kindle Unlimited before and you want to start a free trial, go find this book and start looking through it. I think you will not be sorry that you did. Neither one of these books is specifically vegan. This one does have a ton of vegan options and I don't know, things that you can substitute if it's not vegan. So anyway, this is great. So yeah, I have access to it for free kind of, because I do pay for a subscription, but I just had to go buy it. It's just such a good book. This is one I wanted to make sure that I had on hand. It's kind of another thing to really think about really fast. I'm definitely not anti-technology. For instance, Kindle Unlimited. Now there's actually a lot of hidden gems on there. I'm also going through a book called A Year Without the Grocery Store, but I have not quite formed a full opinion yet, but so far so good. So you might want to find that one too on Kindle Unlimited. There's also just a ton of junk content on there, but there's definitely some really great, awesome stuff on there. So go check it out and maybe get yourself a Kindle Unlimited subscription. Maybe you'll enjoy that, maybe not. Next thing I want to share is a little bit of a dud, unfortunately. This book comes highly recommended from all of the people in my canning group on Facebook. They say this is the preservation Bible. Get this one, get this one, get this one. It's called The Ball complete book of home preserving. I had to check and make sure that it says complete on it because it's just like a bold-faced lie. This is 430 some odd pages of recipes, granted, and some instructional stuff. However, only like 30 pages of it is dedicated to pressure canning, and not even one half of one page, not even one iota of print in this book is dedicated to canning beans or items that have beans in it. And there's virtually no talk on complete meals to put up for your family, which is a lot of what I was wanting to look at. And so I just found this, like I said, to be a complete dud. Now, for other people, it may be a great thing. Like if you have a water bath canner exclusively and you want a ton of recipes for jams and marmalades and chutneys and even pickles and stuff that you want, you want a lot of really creative things to do with your water bath canner, this is probably the canning Bible. It's great. It's the complete book of home preserving. But if I was specifically looking for a lot more information on pressure canning and pressure canning recipes. So for me, it became a dud. I will say that if I end up purchasing a book, because I'm going to return that one. I've actually been waiting to return it until after I showed you in a video. Even when I flipped through it, I flipped through it like this, because I don't want to damage the spine, because I want to be able to return it to the store. But this one my son picked up at the library. I would say this one's better than this one. And it's got definitely a lot better instructions in it for the actual canning process, full color photographs, and it's at the front of the book instead of the back. Anyway, sorry. But still, I don't think I'm going to get this one. It's okay. I don't know. But I hate to just say this was a dud and then not offer you a solution. So I will show you the one that I truly love, which is the actual Complete Guide to Home Canning. Actually, it's just called Complete Guide to Home Canning. But this is put out by the USDA. It's all tested methods for canning various kinds of produce. Tons of information on pressure canning in here, even pickling and all of that. Now, it's not so full of really creative recipes, but it tells you how to safely can individually each thing. And then it gives you instructions even in certain spots for how to combine those things together to create your own safe recipes. And so I feel like this book, though it is not as, pretty or creatively written or whatever, this book is the one that you need. This is basically like the textbook on home canning and even pickling. I believe it does also talk a little bit about dehydrating and stuff, but it's just the best one out there. I believe the most complete, the one that will be the most helpful to you, and it's only $8.92 on Amazon. Also, though, I will put a link down below. But also, technically, it can be free. You can find links, and I will link down below to the place where you can find all the links to actually just print this book out for yourself. Read it and print it out for yourself. But for me, personally, seeing that it was only $8.92 in a fully complete book form, I thought saving my ink, saving my paper, saving the cost of binding it, or saving the cost of getting a binder, because I don't have another binder in my house right now, and I don't feel like dealing with printing and binding. I just didn't feel like dealing in like my time. I felt like $8.92 for a complete book was perfect, but it is technically free. You can find the information free, and I will link all that below. All right, now let's get to the actual like the actual stuff. I'm sorry, I don't know what I am right now. So number one, so funny, Sage has been begging me to open this up. Number one is a portable clothes washer. So basically the gist of this thing is it's just a glorified plunger, and you can put your clothes in something and use in a bucket. You can just use the plunger to wash your clothes. And I haven't actually taken it out quite yet. I haven't done a test on it. I absolutely plan to do a test video on this and show you how it goes, because I'm thinking I would like to use this not only for a situation in which my washing machine might break, which hopefully it's not going to happen, but it could happen. So all of our stuff is so old. Actually, I can't say that anymore because we have recently replaced some of our appliances, but still the washer and the dryer are like, I don't know, probably older than me. Not really that old, but pretty darn old. But I have this in place in case I lose my washer, but also as a means of washing our clothes. In a situation even like traveling, camping, whatever, but also I think I can use it for hand washing clothes, and I'm excited about that. So I'm definitely going to try this out and show videos. I will link it down below. I believe it's about $30. Technically, you can just use a plunger in a bucket. This is designed a little differently though. It looks actually very similar to some of the plunger style hand washers that were available in like antique times, only those were like all metal construction with a, you know, solid wood handle, and that's not what this is, but c'est la vie, right? So anyway, we have this on hand now and I'm excited about that. So we have it, yeah, just in case we need it. So anyway, the last thing, no, not the last thing, but second to last thing, there will not be, I repeat, not be a test video on this thing. It's our toilet seat. It's our camping toilet seat. And it is our brand new thing. I'll link this down below. I think it was like $15. And so basically the idea is this is a bucket toilet seat. It will go on top of a bucket. I can link down below. I'm gonna have to make a list of all the links I'm gonna leave. There was an amazing composting toilet article that I read. And so for us personally, this is pretty much us being set to have something to take care of our own sewage and waste. If, you know, some sort of horrible grid down situation occurred here, we lost power and we lost water, I'm not gonna waste a single drop of water going into our toilet to flush. We will be using a bucket toilet. So this just basically fits right on the top of a standard 5-gallon bucket. You can buy lining bags for it, which I have not purchased yet. I'm not entirely sure that I will. So you can link the article down below. The only thing really that you need to create your own composting toilet system is a bucket and wood chips. And then you do need to have kind of a safe place where you are going to dispose of the waste. And then it will compost in place for like a year. And then you can use that like on your fruit trees and, you know, in your garden or whatever. After the little bacteria take care of it and break it down, it's safe for use in your garden. But like I said, no test video. So for us, the way that we garden and the way that we have like mountains of wood chips in our garden, in our yard, like at all times. So I'm not really concerned about that, but that's just so that you know. And also as an FYI, if you don't read that article, don't use cedar wood chips because cedar never breaks down and it will just basically rot in there and you won't actually ever end up with composted waste. But if there were ever some sort of grid down situation and we lost water for several days, we would be able to jury rig our own toilet system now. And then of course, technically we don't need the toilet seat. You can just technically hover over a bucket and just take care of it. But this will make it a little easier. So anyway, we have that. And like I said, no test video on that, but also we have it potentially for camping. If I were going to take it with me to use in a camping situation, I would be buying the liners for it. And yeah, learning how to dispose of it safely. But there's a whole lot of information out there for how to do this in a safe way. And I have absolutely no intent on, you know, being irresponsible with it. And unlike pretty much every prep I have, I want to use it in real life and get familiar with how to use it and not be trying it for the first time when I need it, like try it before. And so that's a lot of what we do around here. It's really like a lot of our weekends end up being full of our our little practices for our preps. But this is probably not one we're going to practice unless we go camping and then, you know, we end up practicing with it when we're camping. And then I do have one final thing to show, which is not that huge of a deal, but I just wanted to like, just give you eyes on, our 2 weeks of food. Every person should have a minimum of 2 weeks of food on hand for survival, emergency disaster type situations. And so I wanted to show you exactly what that looks like in these totes that I just got at Costco. They were $6 for 2 of these totes. And I just wanted to show these to you guys as an idea. And we're going to be eating more of these totes for the rest of our food storage. And then also for some very fast toss into the truck and go kind of situations if anything ever happens like that where we need to evacuate for some reason or whatever. But let me go ahead and show you these totes, and then that's going to be the final thing, and we will say goodbye. Okay, so there is nothing specifically, you know, earth-shattering or like revelatory about these totes. There's just a couple of things that I wanted to share that I particularly like about them. For one, the size. They are pretty good, kind of large enough size to hold a significant amount of food, but a small enough size that they aren't like completely unwieldy. Now, currently they do have about 100 pounds of food in them. So this is a full 2-week supply plus extra calorically for our family of 5. And this is definitely not a romantic stash of food. It's mainly rice and beans. There's some dehydrated vegetables and stuff, but this is like combined with all of our water stores. If we had to, we could eat out of these 2 buckets and be very well fed for about 2 weeks. We probably have a lot of food fatigue, but at least we wouldn't starve. So a couple things I wanted to point out. Let me try to lift it, even though it might be embarrassing. You know, I'm like, ooh. Okay, I got it. So this is the full tote. So again, it's not too big. I like the fact that the lid itself is a bit locking. And then you kind of just have to pull at a certain point, then you can pull it off. And so I also like the fact that it is opaque. So the tote itself is opaque, which helps block even more light. And then even though we have never, you know, knock on wood, actually, I don't even know if this is wood. That's wood. Okay, knock on wood. We've never had a single problem with rodents in our house before. But you know, there's always a first time for everything. I'm definitely not going to believe it can't happen. So it's really important to have your food stored not only in a Mylar bag, but if you're going to go as far as to do the Mylar bag and the oxygen absorbers to store your food, also store it in something hard that rodents can't chew through, because they absolutely can chew through these bags and get into your food and ruin it. I've heard plenty of horror stories about that. So this is actually pasta, this one, and they're all labeled. But yeah, this is how I label my food, like as an aside, even though that's not what this video is about. Gosh, you can't see. But it says what kind of pasta it is, how much is in there, the cooking instructions, and then the amount of calories. This is 1,800. This is 1,890 calories in this pack. So that is how I know that this is a 2-week supply, because I have written the calories on every bag and added it up compared to the calorie needs of my family. Now, this is not, again, perfect nutrition or whatever, but this will do well for you. In a disaster, it will do well for us, right? But these are very heavy. So that is another thing. Like, this is something that we are going to be tweaking and making ones that are specifically grab and go. They are stackable. These are stacked. And we have plans of getting a couple more sets of these, maybe even more. And like I said, it was only $6 for these 2 totes. And so it's a great place to start with some of your food storage. If even you have just food that you've bought from the store, or several things just in their regular store package have a shelf life of 2 or 3 years. And so that could be a great place for you to start with getting your preparedness together. You can get yourself a couple totes that are rodent proof, and then start putting food in just in the original packaging, knowing that you got, you know, 2 or 3 years on those items. But then as soon as you move them, eventually get yourself the Mylar bags and the oxygen absorbers. As soon as you move those things over to the Mylar bag with the oxygen absorbers, the shelf life of your food drastically increases, and you just get so much more out of it. So that is why the pastas got moved over to the Mylar bags, because now those are going to be good in there for anywhere, I think, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure with white pasta, it is anywhere from 10 to 20 years. And it has to be white, which is the thing. Like if you're using whole grain pasta or whole grain flour, oh my gosh, I'm getting into another video, but this is the last little tidbit. There are oils and fats present in the whole grain that make those things go bad faster. So the items that you're going to be getting 10 or 20 years of shelf life on are things that are made of white pasta, like white flour. So that would be like white pasta white flour, like all-purpose flour, and white rice. So that is kind of the exception, I believe, to where they say only store what you eat. Well, if I want to make my family a stash of food that I can set it and forget it, so like now I know we're set in these 2 totes with that amount of calories or whatever, and I know that's going to be set for another 10 or 20 years, I have to use white flour ingredients, even if we don't really eat that. And so there end up being a few compromises that you have to make. Now, of course, I'm not going to be miserable eating white flour pasta and white rice. It's just not our typical. So anyway, I guess that's all. The other kind of thing is they tend to cook faster. All right. But anyway, that's the list of some of the things that we have purchased recently. And hopefully this was helpful to you. And if you are just getting started, you know, like I said, Kindle Unlimited, that free canning book, even just stashing store-bought stuff in the store-bought packages in a tote that's rodent proof. It's a great place to start. So there's definitely places where you can start without having to get crazy on the fancy schmancy ingredients and fancy equipment and all that. So anyway, I guess that's all. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful to you. And let us know in the comments down below anything that you thought about this video and anything else you'd like to see. And definitely if you'd like to see more content like this, I'm really wanting to put out a lot more content like this for you. So as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys later. Bye. Hey everyone, this is Kathy the Vegan Prepper, along with my little helper for this video to show you some of the most recent purchases that we have made towards some specific areas of preparedness. This is definitely not, you know, a huge list, but it's just, you know, a couple of things to keep in mind, especially because the vast majority of them are so inexpensive and I think accessible to pretty much anyone without very much extra effort. So first of all, let me show you just some of the books that we have bought. And oh my gosh, that was perfect. Hello everyone, this is Kathy the Vegan Prepper here with my little helper for this video because actually right now I don't really have any other help. And so we're going to get this video out to you because it's been days. So we're doing it. Basically, this is a little list of some of the things that we have purchased recently. Some of the things that we have purchased recently. You are just too much. Oh my God. What? What did you say? Oh my gosh, you're just too much. You're so cute. All right, sweetie, though, we need to film the video before we lose all the light. We gotta do it before we lose all the light, sweetheart. Okay, we gotta stop this one. We gotta stop this one. I keep calling you my helper. I don't think you're helping very much. You get away with it because you're so cute, huh? Okay, all right, that's it. Hello, everyone. Kathy, the Vegan Prepper here. Or is it Sage the Vegan Prepper? Sage the Vegan Prepper? Ah! Okay.